President Trump has been moving very quickly since being back in the White House, beginning raids to deport people in the country illegally on the day after he was inaugurated, and appointing Elon Musk to look into what they call wasteful spending.
In fact, with more than 60 executive orders during President Trump's first month in office, critics have said most of what he's doing is unconstitutional. And our senior political reporter Bob Buckley recently sat down to talk with 9th District Republican Congressman Richard Hudson about all that.
You can look at this flurry of executive orders the president has put out, and it does make some people wonder, what's the role of Congress?
A lot of what the president's doing is kind of unwinding what the Biden administration did, and but ultimately to get good law and also to have predictability of the law for the American people, you need congressional action.
Will you take his executive orders and try to make them law?
In as many cases as possible.
Do you approve of what's going on with DOGE? Because a lot of people feel as if the president and Elon Musk are overstepping their authority.
Of course it's legal. He can designate anyone he wants to work for him.
The argument is Congress appropriated this money, therefore the president doesn't have the authority to eradicate that spending.
Well, it depends on which accounts we're talking about, which programs, but in most cases, Congress appropriates this money without a whole lot of guidance of how it's to be spent. The size of the executive branch of government is just out of control. And up until now, someone like me in Congress, it's hard to even find the waste, fraud, and abuse because they hide it. And you can't get access to those budgets, and they do it in such a convoluted way, but that's all changed.
There is a bill currently in the General Assembly in North Carolina that would prohibit law enforcement agencies in North Carolina from dealing with ICE and finding people who are illegally. Is that something that is going to stand, you think? Would Congress step in?
I haven't read this piece of legislation, but I support this concept. Local law enforcement can't decide which federal laws they'll follow or not follow. They can't decide when they'll comply or not.
I asked Hudson whether people who did break the law to come here but haven't broken it since should still be deported.
I think we ought to treat them differently. But we've got to get rid of the criminals first. But at some point, we've got to fix our broken immigration system. It is much easier to come here illegally than it is to come here legally. And we need to fix that so that we can have the folks that we want here.
Are you confident that Tom Homan and his staff will see a differentiation between those types of people?
The emphasis is let's break up these criminal gangs, let's get these folks out of here, and then I think we can deal with the rest of the folks. But look, if you're here illegally, you broke the law. If you get caught up in one of these sweeps, you're going to be deported.
The other issue that is looming is the nation's debt time bomb, as our federal government owes nearly $37 trillion with no end in sight to the overspending.
I think it's the existential threat of our time. I've often felt like I'm the man with the lantern walking through the street, and I'm the crazy one because no one else is listening. It is something we've got to get our hands around, and I think we finally have enough people in government who are committed to doing that you're going to see some significant changes. We just got a bill out of the House Budget Committee yesterday that's going to cut $1.5 trillion as a floor out of the federal government. These are savings that the American people are demanding. It's money back in their pockets. And there's a lot of ways to tackle it. But as you mentioned, the biggest drivers are Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. And we actually have a responsibility, the American people, to do something about those programs because otherwise they're going to go bankrupt. And in the case of Social Security, if we do nothing, in just a few years, everyone on Social Security will get a 25% cut. We can't allow that to happen.
With control of both houses of Congress, Republicans have no excuse if they can't get it done. Bob Buckley, Fox 8 News.
Hudson believes that since so much of the government spending has come in the last 4 years, the federal budget is, after all, up 40% in just the last 5 years, that there's plenty that can be cut without a major effect on people's lives.